Now, this one's about how the male gender is created out of the female gender, right? A lot of people believe that a man was the first person to live on Earth when science already proved that females are the first person, right? All you gotta do is search up the Eve gene, which proves all DNA goes back to a woman, specifically a black woman. But there's other evidence out there too, and people don't understand that science is studying nature, and you are supposed to be studying nature too, right? Right, the book of God, the real book of God is actually nature, right? That most ancient people back then had a real relationship with God. They would get knowledge, they would gain wisdom, they would gain God's wisdom from nature. They would study nature, the birds, the plants, and all. That's how civilization started. That's how clocks, that's how everything that makes your life worth living started, right? Studying nature, because all wisdom comes from nature, which is basically God. And scientists study nature, and when you study nature, you realize that males come from females, right? You realize the first person, the first of any species is always a female, right? Unless they both pop up at the same time, but really, that usually doesn't happen, right? It's an evolutionary process, right? It's a slow evolutionary process, which something happens and boom, this leads to that, this leads to that, right? Cells grow into organisms, right? Little small things grow into big organisms, right? It's a slow process, and it's never just poof, both genders at one time. It's usually one gender at first, and that first gender gives rise to the next gender, right? I was going into this in my other videos when I explained that on a universal level, the feminine force always creates the masculine force. It always comes before the masculine force, right? Like light was created by the darkness, right? Darkness comes way before light. Darkness is basically eternal, always was, right? But you got to study the XY chromosomes, right? The XY chromosomes explain to you and prove to you that the male gender is created out of the female gender, right? Because the X chromosome is female and the Y chromosome is male, right? That's what creates a male, the Y chromosome, right? A female child is XX, a male child is XY. So when you study both of these chromosomes, you realize, whoa, the Y chromosome is just the X chromosome, but it's missing DNA, right? It's missing a leg, right? If you put another line at the bottom of that Y, you get an X, right? It's missing DNA. And scientists have proved and found that the X chromosome actually came before the Y chromosome. The X chromosome has way more genetic information than the Y chromosome. The Y chromosome was created out of the X chromosome via mutation. Search it up. Search it up. The Y chromosome was created out of the X chromosome via mutation, which proves that the male gender comes out of the female gender, right? Because the Y chromosome is what makes the male gender. That's what makes the male gender, the Y chromosome. An XY child is going to be a male, an XX child is going to be a female. So if the Y comes out of the X, if it's created out of the X, that means before there was a Y, it was only XX. And if it's only XX, that means it's only female gender. It's only a female that's being born. It's only one female. It's only one gender, female. Right? XX is female, right? So before there was a Y, which creates the male gender, there was XX, which means that before there was males, there was females being born. There was just females. Then somewhere down the line, the X chromosome mutated and turned into the Y chromosome, and males were created. Males started to be born. So search this up, and you will see the same thing I'm seeing, right? And most of your DNA comes from your mother, right? That's why when they're tracking down your lineage, they really have to use your mother's DNA, right, to track down the mitochondrial DNA that's passed down from mother to mother to mother, right? That's the only DNA that's passed down from mother to mother to mother, right? Your other DNA is like, usually it's like 50-50. Sometimes it sways more to the male. I mean, sways more to the father, it sways more to the mother, but usually it's 50-50. But that's not the only DNA you get. The mitochondrial DNA you get exclusively from your mother out combined with the other DNA that you get from your mother outbalances the DNA you get from your father, which means all babies get more DNA from their mother than their father. All babies are more like to their mother. All babies have much more genetic information from their mother than their father. But search up these XY chromosomes, you will see that the male gender was created out of the female gender. That's why all babies start off female, right? Crazy, right? All babies start off female. Search it up. Every single baby no matter if you was a man or not, or a woman, man, all babies start off female. Male babies only start turning into males after a couple weeks. After a couple weeks, like 2 months, the male it stops turning into a female and then transitions to a male, right? Why does all babies start off female? Because females was the first gender and males are actually created out of the female gender. Search it up.